Yes.
Let me know when you're rolling.
I'm rolling.
Oh, okay. This is
Say your name.
Garth Gaylord here at the Ada County Courthouse. Just had an arraignment with David Manweiler. I motioned the court to let me into the building. It was hard to hear him with vehicles and motorcycles going down the road right there. But this is kind of the best spot we could do. But so he denied my motion to go inside. Even though the Constitution says a defendant has a right to defend in person, Article 1, Section 13. And I cited to him the two bills passed in the legislature on May 10th, effective on May 10th, that say no government entity or subdivision can suspend the Constitution, the rights guaranteed under the Constitution, either the U.S. Constitution or Idaho State Constitution. But he didn't care about that. He said, and he just scheduled my next conference to be over Zoom also.
So he didn't actually acknowledge what you said. He glossed over it and went to the next subject.
Yeah, he just pretty much asserted that, I can do it over Zoom, and your next thing is over Zoom, and yeah, you can have in person at your jury trial.
How generous.
Yeah, he denied me a standby counsel.
What were they're asking you to plead guilty to?
Oh, the plea deal. He offered me a plea deal because my three charges on this case, 19134, are obstruction and 2 counts of battery on certain personnel. So they offered to waive the 2 counts of battery, and if I plead guilty to obstruction, then all I have to do is pay the state $250 and the court fees of $150-something, so a total of about $400. So I could pay $400 and be done with that case today, but I didn't accept the plea deal, so I don't know if that's going to be available to me.
Did he give you time to think about it for a few days or to discuss it with people that you trust?
He said he'd give me time, but he can't guarantee that the deal will be available because the prosecutor is not obligated to renew the deal at a different time.
Would the prosecutor have the right to, on a whim, withdraw that offer for any reason at any time if they choose without a legal basis of it?
I don't know. I don't know the rules on that.
So you really, today, you weren't really given time then?
Not really. I didn't really expect a plea deal today, but
Do you believe that the prosecutor just came up with that idea spontaneously? Or do you think the prosecutor had time to contemplate it before they decided to make the offer?
I think he had plenty of time.
Do you think that...
This was May 7th when this happened.
I was going to say, I think it's more likely that they absolutely know. There's video evidence that there was no battery from you to any personnel. So they know they can't prove that. So, but they can say obstruction
They have the
because they
video
can
of
make
me
that.
touching it, so if they can get away with just saying, oh, his body touched their body, that's battery, then...
But I mean, but what jury is going to say, oh, that's battery? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no way.
I think I have a pretty good case there, just because I asked them to move, and so they're the ones who chose to stay in the spot they were, and there was no other possible option for me to get to the door besides right in between them, and I used the least amount of force necessary to get in between them. So, if I was a jury, I would think, oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, the same bet. Same with Casey Baker's case. The Mulkey got on the stand, so he grabbed my arm, and Wendy's Wendy's on the bench, like, oh, poor baby. Yeah, well, he's 69 years old with Parkinson's disease, kind of.
Lost his balance.
When you do that, your instinct is to grab someone's arm to steady yourself.
I say all they have
So-
to do is put Moki and Casey up against, and, stand up, look at them for about 2 seconds and say, who battered who? I mean, you can tell who the person that can barely stand and was grabbing on to be able to stand up. As he's pushed from behind from another
end the
officer,
interview
by
so
the
Paul
way.
can come back into the shade.
Why can't you have witnesses?
Did Paul leave so he could hear what was going on there?
Great. Why can't you have witnesses?
I can. I just have to figure out how to subpoena the witnesses. I haven't figured out the paperwork on that yet.
So does he even have subpoena paperwork? I think she does. And then I bet that Ammon and Aaron would help you and even just like give you some examples of things that either they've done or other ones, whatever, just so you can have something to. It's always nice to be able
I
to
got
look
one
up
from
something.
John, but it's just got so much in it. It's like,
So when's your next court hearing?
well, for my other case, is July 2nd, but I think he just scheduled me for July 22nd for this one. So I got 2 cases. The first one was from March 15th, obstruction, and the second one was from May 7th, obstruction and 2 counts of battery, misdemeanor.
When
So-
are you going before Manweiler next?
I think July 22nd.
Well, but aren't you going before him on a different issue?
Oh, I mentioned that tomorrow because I saw online that he's on my first case for a probable cause hearing. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm not invited to that. That's an ex parte hearing between just him and the prosecutor.
Just the judge and the prosecutor?
Yeah.
Isn't that so crazy?
I'd like to get the audio of that, but I don't know if they'll let me. We somehow got it for him, and they had an ex parte hearing when he was outside here.
I'm curious too, the prosecutor on today's case, did the prosecutor have a chance to consult with a supervisor or a colleague before making this plea offer?
Probably, yeah.
Well,
His name's Scott Vermeer.
But they're not giving you an opportunity to consult with people that you trust and get some time?
I guess he gave me a few moments to talk to you guys, but no, he didn't guarantee me the plea deal. If I didn't accept it today.
That sounds like the kind of pressure maybe a used car salesman would put on
That was
somebody.
exactly.
He knows you have the legal
It was a
expertise.
limited time offer. It's now or never. Here's your one chance to make it easy on yourself.
It sounds like they're really playing hardball unnecessarily and not having any interest in justice whatsoever. Because if they had some interest in justice, they would most certainly give you some time to contemplate such a life-changing decision about admitting guilt to a crime with all of its potential consequences, and they're going to withdraw it in any moment based on the whim of a prosecutor. That sounds pretty insane to me. And I've been around and paid attention to legal decisions before, and it seems to me that they could give some time to contemplate
Absolutely.
a life-changing decision like that.
It would have been nice if he gave me a standby counsel too, because I don't want to sign my rights away to a public defender who's just gonna not do what I want.
Now, is it true that another judge recently gave you the opportunity for a standby counsel, and yet Manweiler refused to give you standby counsel?
Yes, and I mentioned that to Manweiler. He didn't care. He said, I'm not required to, so I'm not going to.
That is very hard to believe. Again, it shows no interest in justice whatsoever.
He plays hard. He's the one who said he wanted to give the court more teeth to enforce a mask mandate. Force Ammon into a mask. He said he wanted to hold Ammon in custody.
That has not been in play for months.
No, this was back on March 15th. We got the recording of his ex parte hearing with the prosecutor, and he said, I plan to give the court more teeth to enforce the mask mandate, and I want to get Ammon into custody until I purge him of his not wearing a mask. Those were his words, purge and
Himself,
teeth.
yes, from not wearing a mask.
And that speaks to his character as to what he's doing to you.
He did say his disclaimer that assuming that the courts are still requiring masks at that time.
But the
that
courts
is
are not
sick.
legally required to
Absolutely.
demand the mask.
Well, and in
There's
all
no
reality-
legal basis for
And
it.
there should be what happened to all of our, I mean, it shouldn't even happen in the first place because it's fundamentally wrong and against our constitutionally protected rights. But barring that, since obviously these guys don't give one rip about our Constitution, I know that's harsh, but we have seen it every day we have been here. It has been a mock of what justice should be and what our God-given rights protected by our Constitution are. And that Constitution is to restrain them. It is to all of these things, the administrative rules, all of that is for them. It is not for the people. But they've just trampled on that, shown that they don't care. But barring all of that, there should at the very, very, very minimum least be some sort of exemptions of conscience, exemptions for medical reasons, whatever. All those exemptions, we always have those because we can't discriminate, against people.
Absolutely, there
Like
needs
I
to
said,
be
that's- I mean,
exemptions.
that's,
In every other context I've ever heard of, in the state of Idaho, even with the governor saying that we're going to make it a question of peer influence and not a question of the legal system hammering somebody for not wearing a mask. So there's always the exceptions, and thankfully I've had an exception too, and I haven't had to face Judge Manweiler or any other judge, but I certainly hope I'm never in a situation where I have to face a judge like that. I don't mean to pry, but have you ever been convicted of obstruction before?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime before? And
I had a traffic violation last year. I pled guilty to inattentive driving because it was my fault.
A traffic violation.
I rear-ended somebody, but I was very busy, very tired that day, and just spaced out for a moment and rear-ended somebody. Anyway, I had Matt
he's
Weiler
a
on that
criminal.
case too, and I pled guilty right away. And he was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
You're like,
I was like,
no, it's your fault.
It was my fault. And I was like, so anyway, so there was that. And then when I was younger, I was skateboarding out of school and was grinding on the handrails, and I got malicious injury to property.
No bank robbery?
I never robbed a bank. I never got caught for robbing a bank.
So,
As an adult, you've never been convicted of a crime.
No.
Yeah, and this is ridiculous. And this is
I have a history of, serving in my church, volunteering for my community. I work, as a low voltage technician, putting in fire alarms and network stuff. I don't see myself as a threat to society, and any of these charges, there's really no victims. That is it.
so let me ask you, Garth, to wind this video down. It goes past 15 minutes. People don't watch.
Yeah.
What's the end game for you? What do you think you need to do so you can look at God, look at yourself, look at your family, and decide what's the right thing for you to do in this case? What do you right now?
It's a very difficult decision. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I feel a duty to defend my own rights, claim my rights,
Are you guilty?
but no.
Okay.
So that's why I think didn't take the plea deal. I know this whole system is just a bunch of, it's a kangaroo court. It's just all baloney.
So if you're not guilty, God's with you.
Right.
He knows.
I mean, I could just get out of it. It is because I don't have much faith that justice will prevail in this court. So
But you
I'm
trust.
taking a risk of being punished for something I didn't do. So I kind of have to weigh that in with that plea deal, because it would be good to just get out, and then I could spend my time working to provide for my family. But now if I get plead guilty and that judge wants to sink his teeth into me, he can sentence me to maximum of, on that case, 3 years in jail and $3,000. I don't think he'll do that, but anyway, he could give me 6 months or something, and that's a big slam on my family, for sure. But so all that, it's really hard to decide what's the best thing to do. I really want the truth to be known. I've been putting all the video evidence on the internet that, that could incriminate me potentially if they, use the corrupt courts the right way to incriminate me, even though I'm not guilty. But I don't care. I want the truth to be known. I want to know that I did the right thing. I hate today that I demanded to go in person, cited the constitutions, and he still denied it. I mean, I was wanting to refuse Zoom, but I don't know what they're going to do to me and how long they're going to hold me in jail if I refuse Zoom.
I know this is a difficult time, and I'm not telling you to make any decision, of course. But as a believer in God, He's the higher court. Now, wait, I'm not.
That all goes
Well, let
into
me finish. You got to live with your decision to either trust God. Do you remember Indiana Jones and there was a bridge, and he had to step out
I
on
haven't seen
it?
that for a while.
Okay, he had to have some faith. Can you be in jail for 3 years, knowing that you did the right thing, or 6 months jail for going ahead and lying that you're guilty? Because you'd be lying. If you say you're guilty,
Right?
you're lying.
That's a terrible part of the system as well, is that you can't say, I have made this decision, even though I
Okay,
didn't commit
so I gotta
the
wind
crime.
this up.
I know it's in my family's best interest.
Okay, I gotta go
to have
wind-
this compromised.
I gotta wind this down because he needs me. Do
Okay.
you want to say any last words? Just something to pray about, because God will guide you.
Any legal help? Anyone knows how to deal with this stuff legally? Please help me out. Send your prayers. Any thoughts that you have that might help guide my decisions? I'm open to hearing. So,
Okay.
thank you.